Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for making it out on this January day in the middle of April. I know everybody is ready for something a little more spring-like, especially, although I was just telling a couple people, even our horse is tired of this winter weather. So, but welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm Teresa Scharf. I'm serving as PACO's president this year. And just again want to welcome you here. I want to give a special shout and thanks to the folks at Anderson Reporting who have been so good to us, always supportive of PACO and paralegals in general, and are providing the live stream for those who are attending remotely. So welcome to all of you who are here that I can't see, but you can see me. So that's kind of a scary thought. Just a couple of reminders. You should be getting the weekly message each week, so please be sure to read those. Those aren't really just junk emails, I hope. I hope you are reading them. They are filled with information. If you have not read it, especially last week's, we have it posted on our homepage, usually on Friday. After it's sent on Thursday, by Friday it's usually posted to the website. So either way, you should be able to review what's coming up and what information you may need to be abreast of with regard to what we're doing with PACO. I want to thank Britton and Associates, a court reporting firm out of Dayton. They service primarily the Dayton and Cincinnati areas. So how special is that they were willing to provide lunch for everyone here today when Columbus isn't even really in their main area of service. So big shout out to Britton and Associates. Thanks so much for your support and your encouragement to us. And I want to remind you that next month is Paralegal Day in Ohio. We are going to be celebrating on Monday, May 14th with a wonderful luncheon at the Greystone Winery in the Brewery District. We will convene at noon and it will last until 1:30. You need to register. Space is limited. We are limited to about 100 seats. And if you've been to one of our Paralegal Day luncheons before, you'll know that we fill 100 seats. So be sure to register. The cost this year is only $15, which is a reduction from what it has been costing in the past year. So that's really a pretty cool thing. You will want to plan ahead. Because it's in the Brewery District, you may have a little bit of a challenge parking. So you'll want to kind of keep all that in mind when you plan your day on May 14th. There are some other things that are going on in the context of Paralegal Day. One of them is that the governor will issue a proclamation honoring and recognizing paralegals across the state of Ohio. And likewise, the mayor of Columbus, Andy Ginther, will be doing the same. So those are pretty cool features and benefits of being a paralegal and participating in Paralegal Day. So please plan to come. The information for registration is on the website here and also in the messages that have been coming out the last couple of weeks on Thursday. So check that and please register at your earliest convenience. Also, as I have shared with you in previous weeks, you know that you're a member of NFPA because you're a member of PACO. We also have a statewide alliance just focused here in Ohio, which involves us, Paralegal Association of Central Ohio, the Cincinnati Paralegal Association, the Cleveland Association of Paralegals, the Northeast Ohio, PANO, it's Paralegal Association of Northeast Ohio in the Toledo area. And there are a couple of paralegals from the Dayton area and from the Akron area who also participate. There is a meeting this Saturday here in Columbus. Without going into too much detail, if you're interested in attending, you're certainly welcome to do so. I believe it's going to begin around 12 or 12:30. It's going to follow the OSBA statewide paralegal meeting at the OSBA offices, but it's not going to be there. It's going to transition to a different location. So if you are interested in meeting some paralegals from across the state, please contact Callie Kessler or me, and we will let you know what you need to do. You can contact me by emailing president@pacoparalegals.org, or you can contact Callie Kessler. Again, her email address is on the message talking about NFPA. Our 2 representatives, Callie is our secondary as well as our statewide alliance rep, and Brittany Hayes is our NFPA primary rep. They will be representing PACO at the end of this month at a regional and national meeting in Lexington, Kentucky. PACO, or NFPA, divides the nation up into 5 regions. We are in Region 3. That includes paralegal associations from Indiana, Michigan, Kentucky, Ohio, Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee. And so there will be a regional meeting that Brittany and Callie are going to represent us at, and then there is a national meeting called Joint Conference where there's CLEs and teachings and information about leadership and certification, some other things that they manage. So that's all happening in Lexington later this month. If you have any questions, please reach out to Brittany Hayes or Callie Kessler or myself. Again, our contact information is on the website and in the weekly messages. How many of you get receive the CBA's Lawyers Quarterly on Friday electronically? Did you all receive it? Did you notice anything in there? Did you read through it? Let me encourage you to read through it. Do you know what I'm referring to? There's an article in there that I wrote about our PACO LASC pro bono wills clinics. And you might find that interesting. If you are part of that outreach, you'll read some statistics you may not have been aware of. If you're not involved with the wills clinic effort, it might give you some information that might motivate you to want to become involved. And one last thing I want to share, we do have elections coming up. There are positions that are available for you to fill. That information is on the website as well as in the weekly messages. Please consider providing a little bit more of yourself to the good of all for the cause of PACO. So I'm going to circle back to the Lawyers Quarterly article and the fact that we have a partnership with Legal Aid with our Wills Clinic effort, that we serve seniors across the Central Ohio area. It's a pretty unique program. It's the only one like it in Ohio, and I think it's the only one like it in the United States. And it was originated right here. So to that end, there are other things that you can do if you're not interested in volunteering at the Wills Clinics. And so we're going to welcome Melissa. Oh my gosh. Melissa Linville from Legal Aid is going to come and share some other options with you about some things that Legal Aid has going on that paralegals can be used to work with. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Melissa. She coordinates the bankruptcy pro bono program, and she represents clients in-house as a member of the LASC consumer team. She has some other duties there. She represents clients filing Chapter 7 bankruptcies, foreclosure defense, debt collection defense, other bankruptcy matters, and coordinates LASC's Bypass Clinic, which is a clinic for elderly and disabled clients who are being threatened with collection calls. There's some other things she does. She can certainly share that with you. Melissa is a graduate of the Ohio State University Moritz College of Law. Prior to that, she earned her BA from Bates College. Anybody know where that is? It's in Maine. That's a long way from Columbus, Ohio. I'm eager to hear how that happened. So Melissa, please come up. Please take the podium. You may share as long as you wish. Folks in the audience, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to just speak out or raise your hand. If you have a question, though, we're going to ask that you come up at least to the second row. There's a mic on the table here on the first table that will make it easier to be transferred into the video and audio of the program for which Dan is taking care of. And Melissa also has a handout with some information with it. And for those of you who are participating remotely, that attachment should have been delivered to you via email this morning with the link by which you are now joining us. So thanks very much. Melissa, please come up. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you guys for having me. Like Teresa said, I am an attorney at the Legal Aid Society of Columbus, and I coordinate some bankruptcy pro bono programs there. And I've also helped Diana out with a number of other pro bono opportunities. So I can talk about some of the things that we do, and also I can talk about, I was going to start by just giving a little bit more information on legal aid in general, just in case anyone is not familiar with us out in the world. But our office is located in German Village, just south of Schiller Park. Oh, yep, that way. I'm turned around, facing the wrong direction. And so we are the Legal Aid Society of Columbus, and we cover, at my office, we cover Franklin County, and then we cover Madison County. And we also have another office that's in Marion, Ohio, that covers Marion, Morrow, Delaware, and Union counties. And we are independent nonprofits. We're not affiliated with the government, but we do civil legal services. So we're sort of like the public defenders of civil services for low-income individuals. So you have to qualify for our services by having a low enough income. And we value that by the federal poverty guidelines. So we look at how many people are in the household, what the income is of everybody in the household and who's contributing, who's not, that kind of thing. And our intake does that before the person really gets to either our clinics or our attorneys in-house to evaluate their legal issues. So we are all independent nonprofits across the country, and every county in the country should be covered by a legal aid. Sometimes more rural counties, they don't have them as easily accessible as we do in larger urban centers. And at LASC, we are sister programs with Southeastern Ohio Legal Services. And so they cover like 32 counties throughout Southeastern Ohio, and they have 6 offices. So they have an office in Newark, an office in Chillicothe, Portsmouth, New Philadelphia, and Steubenville. So, and each of those offices only have about 4-ish attorneys per office and support staff. So our office in Columbus, though, I looked up the exact number, 34 attorneys and 18 staff. So our office is pretty big, and we get a very high demand from Franklin County, as you can imagine. We have a lot more people than they do throughout all of those southeastern Ohio counties, but they do have some serious poverty issues in those counties as well. So just kind of to give you a little bit more, background of who we are. We do take funding. We do have funding, federal funding, and then there's a statewide entity called Ohio Legal Assistance Foundation, and so they fund all 9 Ohio legal aids, with some funding as well. And otherwise, we just try to seek out grants and get individual donations and that kind of thing to keep us moving and going forward. But our office has 5 different substantive law teams. So all of the attorneys and the support, like we have paralegals on each team, and we have receptionists and different legal secretaries and IT support. So we're sort of split into 5 different substantive law areas. So we have a housing team, and the housing team helps people with evictions and conditions issues and subsidized housing, like if someone's going to lose their voucher. That's a very high priority because those people are sort of the lowest income, and if you lose subsidized housing, your chances of becoming homeless are pretty high. And so that's kind of what our housing team does. We have a clinic set up in housing court that if anyone's interested in daytime opportunities, we have a clinic every single day outside of eviction court, which we have volunteer attorneys and we use volunteer paralegals, and students can help do all of the intake. So we have a clinic every day that helps represent different clients that are getting evicted. And so it's exciting. We've only had that clinic for about a year now, but it allows us to help so many more people. And volunteers can sign up and say, hey, I'm in the first Tuesday of the month from 9 to 12. So volunteers can have a very set time and a set day. So that worked better because before we were just trying to send out referrals as they came in, and the turnaround was so fast, and so it was hard to get people available. But so we're really excited about that. We've gotten a lot of good publicity around that from different people. So as people are worried about the evictions, and the eviction rates in Columbus are very, very high. I don't know what exactly, but we might be like the second highest per capita eviction per people we evict is in Franklin County. In the country, we have like incredibly high eviction rates here. So it's a pretty serious issue. So that's what our housing team does. We have a public benefits team, and they represent people in mostly in seeking benefits if they've been denied, if people have been denied disability, or they've been denied cut off of their food stamps and they shouldn't have been, or Medicaid issues. That team helps people with that. They do workers' comp. They also do education work for kids in schools that might need assistance with like special education claims, or also if they have disciplinary things in schools, that team helps with that. And then we have a domestic team that helps with divorces and child custody and that kind of thing. And our demand for domestic is very high. People call our intake all the time and want divorce help. Turns out, big topic. And so our domestic team prioritizes victims of domestic violence in their intake. So they help clients with civil protection orders and kind of facilitating the divorces, which is a rough job that I am not I would not be well suited for. But I really appreciate that there are attorneys and paralegals and people that want to do domestic more thoroughly. And then we also have the team that I work on is consumer team. So we represent clients in foreclosures, debt defense cases, sometimes student loan issues, car issues. A lot of people get scammed with car issue things. And then I primarily do bankruptcy. So I coordinate bankruptcy referrals, and I also take cases in-house too. So I try to recruit people to help us and do that kind of thing for bankruptcy. And I feel like I'm forgetting a team. We do tax. We also do tax. We have a small tax team that helps people get the right tax credits and that kind of thing. So then we also have a pro bono team that I'm half on. And our pro bono managing attorney is Diana Howie. And so she coordinates all of the different programs besides the bankruptcy one, and just does a number of different things with that. And we have one support staff. So this is our packet that we handed out by email and also here in person, that kind of goes over a lot of the different programs we have for volunteer opportunities for non-attorneys. So we have, we welcome all of the assistance we can get and have found really great use for paralegal volunteers in a number of different areas. So if so one of the big things is for outside of the work hours. If you have a set job that you can't really work to help us during the day, we have a number of clinics. And like Teresa was mentioning, the wills issue, and we also have a number of brief advice clinics. So Teresa, also, do you do the Broad?
Yeah, Barry and I both.
Oh, you're the Broad Street. Okay.
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 There's Presbyterian too.
Oh.
Presbyterian.
Okay. Yeah. So we have brief advice clinics all over the city all the time, and I looked up the number. We have 14 a month of the brief advice clinics. So they're mostly at churches, community centers. We have a number of them at homeless shelters, the YWCA Family Center, and also the men's shelters as well. And basically, we have one in a public library too. And basically, it's an opportunity for people to come. To come and meet with an attorney and just get some brief advice, and the attorney often is sort of troubleshooting. They're saying like, you need to go to this courthouse, or you have this much time to answer this response, or something like that. And, they're not expected to have like a deep understanding of all of the issues, but just try to get to point people in the right direction. And people really appreciate the opportunity to kind of look face to face with someone that's going to listen to them and, try to give them the best advice that they can. So we really rely on the assistance of paralegals to help with our intake and coordinating kind of the people, because sometimes they can get a little intense. Sometimes we have the challenge of brief advice clinics is to match the volunteers with the number of people. And so sometimes we have way more volunteers. Sometimes we have way more clients. So what we need assistance with is kind of in the beginning, helping sort the people, do the intake, make sure the clients are all, they care very much about being seen in the order they arrive. Make sure to kind of keep everything organized with the intake applications, because we are federally funded by Legal Services Corporation, and with that funding comes some regulations and rules. So all of the clinics that Legal Aid puts their name on have to follow these kind of rules. Like we only assist people that are still, even at the brief advice clinic, still under a certain number of the poverty line. If someone is not a U.S. citizen, we need to get additional paperwork because our LSC funding comes with those restrictions. So what we use can use assistance from the beginning and throughout the entire duration of the clinic, but the beginning is oftentimes the most kind of crazy organizational time. But we really rely on paralegals to help do the intake with the people and help make sure the client, information is correct, identify what the legal issue is, because the attorneys do come to these clinics with certain different areas of expertise. So we want to match, if we can, the family law question with the family law attorney, and that kind of thing. So you kind of get a basic idea of what attorneys are there, who they want to talk to people about. Some attorneys that go to brief advice clinics for years and years and years. We have a number of volunteers that have been coming to these consistently for a long time. And sometimes they'll just meet with anybody, any question, anything. But then newer attorneys are a little more apprehensive. They don't want to just, go too far outside of their areas of expertise. So you kind of got to match the issue with the attorney, and then just keep the check-in list. We need everyone to sign certain things and just keep it all organized. And the attorneys, we also want the attorneys to all sign in, and all of the volunteers, so that you can get the credit for volunteering at the clinic. So we have those brief advice clinics. Did I miss any basics from them, Teresa or Barry? No, it seems like the good basics. And we don't have people pre-register for brief advice clinics, so we just don't have a strong idea of how many people are going to come.
You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, so it's kind of the nature of the beast with these. You don't know exactly the turnout. Sometimes we have people leave early if it's really quiet. Sometimes Diana calls in like recruits, like, oh, we've had all the attorneys cancel, and can you come to Northland in 20 minutes? And that kind of thing. So Legal Aid tries to have one attorney, a legal aid attorney or representative at every clinic, so that we can help make sure, we have all the paperwork. We take the forms back to our office and input them into a spreadsheet, because attorneys can get CLE credit now. Okay, so you can process those. So we process that all on Legal Aid's end, all the hours, and then we have everybody sign something, and so that's good enough for the bar. Is that good enough for the?
Right, the OSBA monitors
Mhm.
certification, and so that's who we report to.
Okay, and then Legal Aid turns it all in, right?
Right.
Yeah. So we turn in all the hours. So we just want to keep track of who's there and what they're doing and how long they're staying, because we turn it in, and then people say, well, I think I was there longer, or I didn't, so we have to always kind of try to keep track of that after the fact of the clinics. But so those are the brief advice clinics. We also have some subject-specific clinics, like the Wills Clinic, and we also have a naturalization clinic, where people meet with, and at all the clinics, we rely heavily on paralegals and other volunteers to help similarly with the intake. But if one of our subject specifics specifically intrigues you, you might you can specialize. But we have naturalization clinics where we match people. This one is pre-screened. So we've pre-screened some people. Some people just show up. It kind of depends. But people that are hopefully at the stage where they want to apply for full citizenship, and they've been, had their green card a certain number of years. And so we have attorneys meet with them one-on-one and kind of walk through the checklist to see if they really are eligible, and then we actually help them complete the packet to like go send away to get their citizenship. And that clinic is really rewarding, just because it's all of these really excited people that are going to become citizens, and they're most likely mostly eligible. Sometimes they might have to wait a little bit longer or something like that, but it's a very rewarding clinic that people enjoy helping at. And it was real crazy in the beginning. I just helped at one of the ones we had about a month ago, and I went to the Bhutanese. We have them at different community centers, and this one was at the Bhutanese Nepali Center on the north side. And I arrived, and 15 people that didn't speak English were just staring at me, and I was like, oh, okay, let's get this, you're moving. And we have translation services we can always call if people come to the clinics that don't speak English. But the beginning is always the most crazy, I think, for the clinics. One of the other subject-specific clinics we have is the Clean Slate Clinic. We help people that are, and these are hopefully pre-screened as well. Sometimes people show up, sometimes, we don't promise perfection, but these clients are interested in getting either expungements or CQEs, like they have some kind of criminal record, and they want to get more information on expunging it. And also a CQE is a certified I forget what it stands for.
Certificate of Qualification for Employment.
Yes, Certificate of Qualification for Employment. And so what that is if they complete this, it's something that can help them take to employers, that they can be insured, and they can say, it's trying to help promote employment of people with records. That to show, I've gone through talking with my hands too much. I've gone through these steps, I'm ready to jump back into the workforce. I really want to do these things. And so they can take this certificate with them as they apply for different jobs. So we have attorneys meet with those clients one-on-one to do both of those things. So again, we need assistance with the intake and the beginning and trying to sort the people and who's who and what's, sometimes things can get pretty crazy, but that is also a pretty rewarding clinic, because you're really making a big difference of the people that are need the assistance. And the other thing, if you do have, so those are sort of our after hours options, if you have a regular 9-to-5 job, or but we do have like during workday opportunities quite a bit, and we've used paralegals. I've worked with paralegals at a number of different stages. Sometimes if you know people that are in paralegal programs and they want to get certain accreditation for internships and things, I've worked with a number of students, and also just people kind of with more flexible work schedules that want to do something during the day. The TAP clinic is every day, every morning. That, if that sounds interesting or exciting to you. And also we have in-house volunteers that support the substantive law teams. So if someone says, I'm available Tuesday, Thursday mornings, and I'm really interested in this area, we can definitely use the assistance in a number of different things. For me personally, for bankruptcy, I need assistance in helping work with clients and prepare them to file for bankruptcy, because I have a Chapter 7 pro bono referral program where I refer clients to private attorneys to represent them in filing the bankruptcy. But I found that if I just referred the client away, and didn't do any pre-work with the client, often they sort of lost contact and I wasted a good referral. So what we do now is I collect all of the paperwork from the client before referring them. So it's like tax returns and pay stubs and all these different things. And so it's just a lot of paperwork and documentation and follow-up. So I depend heavily on in-house volunteers at all times to help call the client, set up a time, meet with them on Tuesday, whatever the schedule is. And I never have anybody that's available full time. Sometimes during the summer we can get a little more hours, but I have a system set up so that we use people to, schedule and calendar, and, I set up appointments. If someone's here on Fridays or Thursdays, I can set up appointments exactly to meet with the people and go through checklist and collect paperwork, scan it, organize, follow up with the client, what's still missing. Because in the bankruptcy world, it really, that is the most time consuming part of filing a bankruptcy, because it is hard for people to get their paperwork together. So that's the kind of thing I think, we need assistance helping helping our in-house clients, our in-house pro bono referral clients just prepare to get things together. And so, if you're interested in working with clients one-on-one, we have plenty of client contact. And, I found it's good for students of all kinds to kind of jump in and get some interaction working with real people one-on-one. So all the different substantive law teams, I think, can utilize paralegals if they're interested in the workday hours. But I know that's usually harder for people. Sometimes if people are, and I'll even work with someone if they have like a free month. Some of the teams want sort of like a more consistency, longer term. It depends on the team. But me, I'm like, anybody, you got 3 weeks, you want to come in? I guess the New York bar, you have to have a certain hour, like 50 hours before you can sit for the bar. Yeah, before you can sit for the bar to be a licensed attorney. So occasionally we have people in Columbus call and be like, I need, like 3 full weeks of hours. And I'm like, I'll do it. I can keep you busy for 3 weeks. Whereas a lot of other substantive law teams, it doesn't really work for their schedules to have someone but we have so much like paperwork and so much processing of people for our programming, for mine personally. So selfishly, I'll take, I can use any assistance. And so, but yeah, I mean, the clinics are all in the evenings for the most part, and they're not usually on the weekends. We don't like that to coordinate. We always have a legal aid staff there. I think one of the naturalization clinics has been on a Saturday, but besides that, the clinics are usually about 5:30 to 7:30 is usually 5 to 7:30 is usually the timing of them. Varies slightly from location to location depending on that. But they really are located, and you can see a list on our website. I don't think I printed one out, but they are really located all over the city. We have them on, the public library, I think, is in Westerville, but we have one in Hilliard and Hilltop and all over, South Side, North Side, so if if something is easy for you, like we have a number of them downtown that you can, or in close to downtown, so if you work downtown, you can easily pop over, but we have them in all different places too, so if another area of the city is ideal, whatever subject, whatever you're interested in, legal aid has a place, whatever kind of pro bono opportunity. And then let's see if I forgot any of the we also have paralegals participate. We have a volunteer. This is another day commitment. We have a volunteer resource center where it's about probably half attorneys have paralegals, but they do like a morning or afternoon a week shift, and then they help find attorneys to refer pro bono clients to. So they have a calendars and things and set up so that if someone's ready, they kind of do the client call to see what the issues are, especially for evictions. And then if the case seems like a good referral, they find an attorney too. So there's also like a weekly morning or afternoon shift that is an opportunity too, that we have a number of paralegals. I think the paralegals we have might mostly be, I'm not sure. I don't think, we have a couple retired paralegals that are doing that, have done it for years. But some just do it, I think. They just have a flexible, maybe non-working schedule or flexible working schedule. But yeah, I mean, it's hard. The pro bono world has some challenges in trying to meet what people want to do and what the clients need. And so we've tried to work very hard to kind of, do both, to create a variety of opportunities for volunteers, of all different areas and levels of experience, and then also try to meet, most effectively meet the needs of the low-income community in Columbus. And so I am excited about the TAP program because, I think it's hard to get people to want to do, low-income subsidized housing. So the TAP program is kind of an opportunity where you can have a set volunteer time and volunteer commitment without going too far out of everyone's comfort zone. But yeah, does anyone have any questions about the programming or legal aid in general?
One of the things that I think Barry and I both forgot when you asked if there was anything else is
Mhm.
the fact that, at least for attorneys, legal aid extends its malpractice insurance coverage
Mhm.
to those attorneys who volunteer at the clinics.
Mhm.
And that's a real bonus because many of them do
I'm
not want
nervous.
to expose their law firm
Right. Mm-hmm.
coverage, or there are some attorneys who work in agencies, government agencies, who
Don't have. Mm-hmm.
malpractice insurance.
Yeah, Teresa was saying the one perk of pro bono work is that it's under legal aid's malpractice insurance. If it's truly pro bono assistance at either the clinics or you take cases or anything like that, it's covered under our malpractice. We do have a number of attorneys that aren't licensed in Ohio, but they're licensed in other states, but they work for large corporations like Chase or something that don't need Ohio licensing, and then they can participate in this brief advice program too. So yeah, I mean, clients really appreciate the opportunity to just talk to someone at the brief advice clinic. It's a valuable service, we're providing. Sometimes I was a little doubtful, like how much help can you get in 15 minutes with an attorney? But I think people just really appreciate the opportunity to have someone sit there, listen to their issue, and give them the best advice they can. I think people understand they're not going to represent them in this lawsuit. They don't have all the answers, but I think they just really appreciate it. And everybody, all the volunteers at the clinics try as hard as they can to answer the questions. If it's a question that there is an answer to, but they just don't know it, that we'll ask people, ask the legal aid lawyer, and I get texts from Diane all the time about questions at clinics that come up. So everyone really tries hard to answer the person's question. And I think it is a valuable service. We get a lot of positive feedback about clients' experiences at the clinics. And so that's what we have a number of them all over.
Something else I forgot to mention about the brief advice clinics. They're in the evenings, like you said, they're all over the county.
Mm-hmm.
They're also all different times of the month. Like we're always the first Thursday. There's
Mm-hmm.
always 2 or 3 clinics every week.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what time you're available, there's probably a clinic about that time.
Yeah, exactly. They are, they usually are on a rotation of once a month. The YWCA Family Center, I think, is every 3 weeks, just because that's their rotation of clients that stay with them. But otherwise, they're once a month, and so you can say, like, oh, Wednesdays seem really free to me. I'm sure there's one on one Wednesday, whatever Wednesday you want to come. And so you can sign up. We have sign-ups on our website. You can sign up to fill in the date. There's places for non-attorney volunteers and attorney volunteers, and so you can always sign up so we know, we've got, 2 paralegals to run the intake, and because we like to have enough of both for the intake, because it's better for legal aid if legal aid staff doesn't have to do the intake, because of a number of our different, if we see every person, it gets a little more complicated from our reporting standpoint. So the legal aid staff is useful to try and just sort of troubleshoot and direct people in the right direction if there's a hard question or if there's a challenging issue, is more what the legal aid staff. But we always have someone there in case nobody shows, because sometimes things come up and. But yeah, we depend on that sign in online pretty clearly. So yeah, there's a lot more information there if you're interested. You can always just sign up. You could sign up for one. You could sign up. A lot of people do it repeatedly, but we're very, we appreciate the help and really depend on it for each clinic.
Can you expound on some of the needs outside the Columbus area for paralegals who maybe live or work a couple of counties away? Because a lot of paralegals, myself included, I live 3 counties away. So there, can you kind of...
Yeah, so we used to have just only Columbus pro bono. We were the Legal Aid Society of Columbus pro bono program. But Diana is now the managing attorney of the pro bono program with LASC and Souls, covering all of our Southeastern Ohio legal services. So she's really been working hard to kind of increase our visibility and increase our opportunities in those outlying counties for people that are really never going to come to Columbus if they can't help it. A lot of the outlying counties file bankruptcy in Columbus, and you have to come to one hearing at the bankruptcy court, and it is just terrible. People just do not want to do it when they aren't used to coming downtown. So we do have a number of brief advice clinics and a clean slate clinic and different things outside of Franklin County as well. We have one. I think we have one in Delaware, and I think we have one in Union. And we are working. We have a collaboration with a new collaboration with OU students because we have an office in Athens. And so we can always use assistance in some of those other things. And there is a space online you can definitely, if you're interested, you can fill out the form and say like, hey, I live in, Delaware. What kind of schedule do we have in Delaware? Because we do, we're trying hard. We're very lucky in Columbus that we have so many volunteers. And there's so many businesses and law firms and everything that we have a lot of volunteers to help us in Columbus. And it just it's so much tougher to find people when we go outside of the city center. And so it's hard, the outlying counties, there just aren't as many paralegals or attorneys. And so we're trying to help implement as many services, and we're also trying to use technology to bring anything in Columbus that we do to the other counties and other offices as well. But it is a challenge. It's a unique challenge of people that live in more rural Ohio with less access to consistent internet, or they're not going to watch my webinar necessarily about about the financial literacy advice. There's not as much access. So we are trying to improve and increase our programming. And we have advice clinics in all those offices in all those cities I mentioned, Newark, Chillicothe. So we do different things in those too. And we work with community groups, especially like domestic violence shelters and centers in a lot of the different outlying counties, to get referrals or to do different community outreach with those. But yeah, and people don't want to come to Columbus when they don't have to, if they don't live, if they don't live that close. But yeah, that's a good question. And since we're consolidated with Souls and LASC, we are doing much more to have everything available and visible when you look at all of our stuff. But yeah, if you're interested in other county information, we definitely have that available, and the need is even more desperate outside of Franklin County. So if you are, interested in that, we would love for you to let us know, because the need is very, very significant outside. We just don't have as many people.
How about some training? Because I know LASC offers CLEs that kind of cover all of those areas so that you don't kind of walk in blind to a brief advice clinic.
Right, yes. Yeah, we have training. We have trainings and CLEs available, and we also have them all available online. So if you say, your timing wasn't quite right to come to one in person, we have them available online that anyone can access, that we can send you the links to. and access. And we also have a collaboration with the OSBA that if you are a pro bono volunteer, you can access them for free, because we have a couple specific ones that are uploaded on the OSBA website. So that might be directly correlated with their accreditation programming. But yeah, so we have them, we put them on the brief advice CLE. We put on, I think, about once a year, and it's almost a full day, because we do a little bit on every subject, just to kind of give people some overview on all the different substantive law subjects. And but it is available. We videotape it each time, and so we have it on our website so people can watch it. And we don't, if you come to volunteer at a brief advice CLE, we don't expect like a deep level of knowledge about all the different substantive law questions people might come up with. But the CLE might make people feel more comfortable if they kind of watch it and get an idea for what to expect of what's going to happen. But yeah, good questions. Anything else?
Well, I was just thinking, we talk about the client gratitude. A few months ago, we had a client leave in our clinic, and she gave Teresa and I a hug when she left. So that was something that's very encouraging. It's great to see how satisfied she was with the advice she got.
And in contrast, when she came in, she was quite grumpy.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So she was extremely pleased and thankful.
I really think, it's hard when you're trying to find answers to your questions. It's hard to get real people on the phone that will answer you. So I think that have your best interests at heart and aren't like the debt collector trying to collect your debt. So I think people just really appreciate a real person giving real advice, like face to face, and an opportunity to do that. And they appreciate that we have so many in 1 month. That, if we're not going to represent the person for at legal aid, because we have, each substantive law team has different priorities, and we get so many more calls than people we can represent in-house. So the brief advice clinic is something we refer people to if the person doesn't get through intake for some reason, like their issue is not something that legal aid does. So they appreciate that opportunity to just like talk to someone one-on-one, because I think it's it's tough to get people to answer your questions. Now, get on hold for so long, so many different places.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Any
All
other
right.
questions?
Well, thank you guys for having me. If you're interested, in any pro bono opportunities, I had a sign in, and you can also email me. I should say my email, right? mlinville, LINVILLE, at columbuslegalaid.org. So if you're interested and you're remote, just send us an email, and we'll make sure we get the sign in and information to you for participating.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Well, again, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being online and listening. Thanks so much to Melissa for coming and sharing. That was a lot of good information. I hope you were able to absorb all that. If you have questions, please, as she shared, reach out to her via email and let her know that you were either here in person at the meeting today or that you watched online and that you're interested in helping. There are countless opportunities. She went over a lot of them, but I know there are others that she didn't have time to tell you about. And as you know, I chair the pro bono committee here for PACO, so pro bono is really my passion, and so that's kind of why I'm excited, especially to have her come and talk to us today. I hope that it reached you in some level and will motivate you to get involved if you aren't already. I know many of you are. We have lots of people who volunteer at the brief advice clinics and at the Wills clinics that we are involved in. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at president@pacoparalegals.org, and we will convene again next month. But at the Greystone, remember to register right away because of limited space, and we'll have some special things planned for that day as well. Thanks so much for coming today. Have a good afternoon.